This episode of HTM Tech is brought to you by Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy offers a wide range of products including energy drinks and dietary supplements containing zero sugar, 0 to 5 calories, B vitamins, gluten-free, soy-free, and 100% vegan. Rogue Energy products are a great alternative to those corner store energy drinks that are loaded with sugar and cause you to crash soon after. Head over to rogueenergy.com where viewers of HTM Tech can get 10% off any order placed. Not just your first order, but any time you order. Just use offer code HTM Tech at the checkout to get your discount on one of the hottest energy drink brands on the market. Hey, don't take our word for it. Try it for yourself today.
Hey guys, Joe the Tech Guy back here with another episode this week. For those of you new to the channel, thank you for stopping by. Make sure you hit like and subscribe in the video. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for tuning in again. Very much appreciated as well. Alright guys, for this week here I have a bit of an interesting one here for you guys. It's a question I get asked quite a bit working in the technology business. Is the smartwatch a device for me? Is it something that's useful for me? Is it something that I really need? Interesting question, and questions you viewers have been asking as well. So I figured I'd do my best here this week to try and clear this up and if this is a device for you. So right off the hop here, if you don't have a smartphone, this is not a device for you. So if you're very much still stuck in the old school way of doing things with a flip phone, then this is definitely not a device for you. Now, if you do it with a smartphone, especially if you're somebody who works on a regular basis and can't always have your phone with you, this is a device that you definitely want to be interested in and look at possibly getting. Now, when it comes to making the choice, if you are in the market for a smartphone, how do you make this choice? There are so many smartwatches out there on the market. A lot of good, a lot of bad, some things to watch for. First tip. Make sure that you're buying a reputable name brand. Really pay attention to this. Pay attention to prices as well. If prices are really out of whack with the actual market price, what the actual retail price is, then you are likely looking at something that's like a knockoff or just a cheap imitation of what's actually out there. I've seen so many of these, and unfortunately people get kind of taken advantage of. The three main ones that I will recommend, and it's really going to depend on what ecosystem that you are involved with your other mobile devices. That's really going to dictate your decision here. Like, for example, if you are very much a Google or Android person, the Apple Watch is not going to be something for you. And vice versa, if you are very much in that Apple ecosystem with your computers, with your mobile devices, then that Google type of smartwatch is not going to be what you're looking for. So I thought I would kind of break down some of these here because it's interesting. Over the last little while, there's been a lot of innovation in the smartwatch product space. There's very much at its onset, there's very much a gap between what people wanted a smartwatch to do and what a smartwatch is actually capable of doing. Over the last little while, a lot of these companies have really stepped up to the plate to make the smartwatch very much a usable device. I use mine on a daily basis, and quite often I don't end up having to reach into my pocket. For my phone, I can do a lot of this kind of stuff on my watch. So let's start off with if you are in the Google space. There's very much the mobile platforms now that Windows and all that kind of stuff is well and truly done. Then you're looking at either a Samsung Gear Watch or you're looking at a Pixel Watch or a Fitbit kind of style watch. Now, a lot of features kind of cross over with these two devices here. You have your typical things like your blood oxygen sensor, your pedometer, your heart rate, and all this kind of stuff. It's very much, you can put music on, you can answer and take phone calls and text messages and all that kind of stuff. That's pretty well universal throughout these platforms as well. And price is very comparable. Like, even when you cross over into the Apple side of things and looking back over on the Google, with the Pixel Watch, with the Galaxy Watch, a lot of people like to say, Apple's just always a lot more expensive. When you really look at like the base models of things across the board, it's actually very, very on par with each other. So this narrative out there that the Apple stuff is just always more expensive than everything, that is just not accurate. With the base model Apple Watch, the current SE2 model, actually less expensive than the current Pixel Watch there. So something to take note of. Now, looking at it more from my kind of perspective here, because as you all are aware, especially if you're a returning viewer to this channel, I'm very much an Apple person. I have a Series 9 Apple Watch, and I was very on the fence about getting into the smartwatch as a device to use for myself. I had a previous version of the Apple Watch, the actual Apple Watch Series 3, and it was somewhat useful, but the big downer for me on it was the battery life. Even as soon as I had this thing, this was not just an issue that I had. A lot of people with the early versions of the Apple Watch were having this issue of barely getting through one day on a charge. And what that results in is it just makes it not really a usable device, because with all the sleep tracking capability and all that kind of stuff, I mean, if I am just barely getting through the day and then getting at home, if the battery is very close to being dead, then it just doesn't serve to help me with the sleep tracking, because the watch is already almost dead. I got to charge up before I go to bed. Pain in the butt. But now, over the last few iterations of these devices here, the battery life is significantly improved. I mean, I charged, so I'm wearing mine currently now. I charged my Apple Watch 2 days ago, and I will do my best to show up on there. I have 29% battery life still. That's a little over 2 days ago, and this thing is still going, and it's an always-on display too. The display is always on, so it's very efficient at using the battery, and a lot of really cool features have been added to this device to make it very, very useful. This is very much shifting towards a very Apple-centric here conversation, because I really do feel, and I'll get some heat for this, but that's okay, that the Apple Watch is the most useful and versatile smartwatch out there. There's a lot of features here that are just not on the other platforms, and that's a big deal here. So when it comes to if something happens to you, like let's say if you're involved, if you fall, if you end up having a heart attack, if you're in a significant car crash, your Apple Watch will prompt you to contact emergency services right on the watch. And then if you were not capable, let's say if you're unconscious, the device will actually place the emergency call for you and let emergency services know where you are. A very, very useful feature, not just for elderly people, but for anybody like accidents happen. If something happens, your watch has got you covered, which is, I think, a really, really cool thing. Now, heart and health kind of related stuff here. There's some really cool stuff going on. The Blood Oxygen app, which is an interesting thing because there is a company currently suing Apple with this, claiming that they stole their patent for it and all that, of letting you know, if you're having irregular heart functions and that kind of stuff, your blood oxygen level just lets you know kind of, it's all tied to your blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. It lets you know how to do all that kind of stuff. And especially if you are an elderly person as well, another really, really cool thing is you can actually do an actual ECG rate on your wrist, and then once you run the test, you can send the results to your doctor right from your wrist. So if you're somebody who is at risk to having heart issues and your doctor is watching your heart health, this makes it really, really easy for you to have that one-on-one with your doctor, even if you're not there with them. For women out there, the current versions of the Apple Watch will actually track your cycle. This is getting into pretty cool stuff here. If you have the GPS or the Wi-Fi model, or the cellular model, if you're lost, you can literally hold this up and it's going to guide you to an open area where you have a satellite signal, and you can send out an emergency text or phone call. Pretty incredible stuff. This has come such a long way. If you are somebody who likes to swim or scuba dive, you can go with some of the higher end models up to 100 meters underwater and still be good with your watch. So like I had mentioned too, the battery life, they also charge a lot faster now. Just There's so many things kind of being added to this to make it useful. So at the end of the day, let's circle back to what I originally started with here. Is a smartwatch something that is useful? Is it a device for you? If you have other smart devices like phones and that kind of stuff, if you want to be able to just do kind of some of the things that you would normally do on your phone, but without having to always pull your phone in your pocket, like if you're somebody who works in retail, factory, if you're doing kind of whatever, you can't always be able to reach in your pocket your phone. A lot of our places don't allow you to use your phone while you're working. You can do this and be able to kind of take, for example, like on the watch that I have, if a text comes in, I can literally double tap with my 2 fingers and answer a text message. Just by making that gesture, I don't even have to worry about navigating through it. I can just do a tap and then answer phone calls, any of that kind of stuff. Just navigating through the base menu, I can do by just double tapping my fingers. It's a very, very useful thing, and especially if you're looking for one, I do advise, especially if you're looking at for the higher end models, look for sales and that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, like I mentioned, to kind of circle back here, a very, very useful device for the average person, your professional, your working person. A very, very useful device to have. So if it is something you're looking for, if you're in the Apple ecosystem, the Apple Watch is what you're looking for. If you're on the other side of things, the Samsung Gear and Pixel Watch that they've partnered with Fitbit on is something you may want to consider. It doesn't have a lot of the functionality that the Apple Watch has, but I mean, if you're in that Android ecosystem, then those are going to be your 2 main choices, and then your Apple Watches for your Apple people out there. Alright guys, before I go here today, one quick thing. This has kind of become tradition on here. I tend to give a little bit of a tip at the end of the episode here. Recently, I'm sure most of you are aware, Facebook went down for like 2 or 3 hours. I wasn't even aware that it actually happened. I was actually resting, sleeping at the time. Folks, just because Facebook goes down doesn't mean that your entire internet has gone down. Doesn't mean the entire internet has gone down. I see this almost every time there's some kind of outage with social media, specifically with Facebook. People think that the whole entire internet has gone down. It has not. I know for some people are so ingrained into Facebook that they think that that's the whole thing. It really, really isn't. And what ends up happening is then on other social media platforms, they'll post, "Oh, the internet is down" and stuff. Folks, just because Facebook is down doesn't mean the entire internet is down. Please don't put that false information out there. It just results in a lot of problems. People coming into like places where I work at, they're running, "Oh, my internet is down." Your internet is not down. It's just your social media that's down. Just take it easy. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one where we talk about how tech matters. HTM Tech is brought to you by Microplay, located at 265 King George Road in Brantford, Ontario, Canada, for all of your video game and collectible needs.